Hey guys, welcome back to Bits of Krish. I've got another thrilling tale for you. Last time, Indiana and Gina found themselves in the Himalayas, searching for the elusive African stone. But danger lurked at every turn. German soldiers, a mysterious abandoned ship in the mountains, and an explosion that nearly sent them to their doom. In a desperate attempt to escape, Indiana grasped the stone and chanted ancient words in Adamic. And just like that, poof, they vanished. The next moment, Indiana and Gina reappeared, only to find themselves in the middle of Shanghai, 1937. But this wasn't the Shanghai of dazzling neon lights and bustling markets. This was a city under siege. Japanese warplanes roared overhead, unleashing relentless destruction. Buildings crumbled, fires raged, and the streets were nothing but heaps of smoldering rubble. Shanghai had become a wasteland. Indiana barely had time to process what had happened. The power of the Great Circle had transported them across the world in an instant. But there was no time to marvel at this revelation. The air was thick with smoke, and the deafening sound of explosions reminded them they were in a war zone. The fighter planes were still hovering over Shanghai, dropping bombs to annihilate the last remnants of life. Indiana and Gina had no time to waste. They needed to escape this war zone. But how? The city was engulfed in flames, with roads dismantled and too dangerous to cross. With sheer guts and perseverance, they carefully took each step, meticulously moving from building to building, climbing walls when necessary, and leaping over pits of fire whenever possible. Finally, they reached the top of a building, where they spotted a crashed airplane in the distance. They quickly devised a plan. Gina suggested she could try to get the plane running, and if it worked, they could fly out of there. But reaching the aircraft was another challenge. It has crash landed on the rooftops of a building, surrounded by burning structures that were on the verge of collapse. The path ahead looked nearly impossible and deadly. They had to cross burning buildings, leap across unstable rooftops, and brave the suffocating heat. The ground beneath them was treacherous. Wooden planks, weakened by flame, threatened to collapse at any moment. A single misstep could send them plummeting into the inferno below. Amidst the fire and smoke, visibility was nearly zero. The extreme heat was unbearable, pushing them to their limits. There came a moment when they had absolutely nowhere else to go. Indy clenched his jaw and carefully edged along the wall. Beneath him was nothing but a thin, scorching slab of wood. Hot, hot, hot. Suddenly, the ledge gave away and he dropped. But Indiana, a survivor of countless death traps, didn't flinch. With lightning reflexes, he leaped just before the floor collapsed, snapped his whip around a nearby hangar, and swung across to safety. What a daring feat. They finally reached the wrecked aircraft. Gina scrambled into the cockpit, hoping it would still function. Indiana meanwhile yanked the tail, trying to get it moving. A tense moment passed. Then the engine roared. The plane took off just in time, but Indiana was still hanging from the tail, gripping his whip for dear life. Before he could pull himself up, Japanese fighter jets spotted them and gave chase. With bullets whizzing past, Indiana knew they wouldn't last long unless they fought back. Grabbing hold of a machine gun, Indiana unleashed a storm of bullets at the pursuing aircraft. One by one, he took them down, sending fiery wrecks crushing into the already decimated city below. Gina expertly maneuvered the aircraft, weaving between the destruction, avoiding enemy fire. It was chaos, but Indy was relentless. One more well-aimed shot, boom! The final enemy jet spiraled out of control and crashed into the streets of burning Shanghai. They were free, but their victory was short-lived. The plane sputtered, it was out of fuel, and worse, another damaged enemy jet was on a collision course with them. Thinking fast, Indiana jumped, latching onto the other plane mid-air. Fighting against the wind, he threw a punch at the pilot, knocking him out cold. With a swift move, he shoved the second enemy out of the cockpit, taking control just in time. Gina climbed aboard, and they steered the plane towards their next destination, Sukhothai, Southeast Asia. According to Indiana's research, another piece of Great Circle was hidden deep within the jungles of Siam. They were one step ahead for now. Voss and his army had yet to uncover this secret. Their arrival in Sukhothai wasn't the peaceful reprieve they had hoped for. Instead of a quiet ancient village, they found a military stronghold. Fascist soldiers had overtaken the area overnight, turning it into an armed fortress. Keeping a low profile, Indiana and Gina checked into a small charming inn, Haimuk Saksit. It was a peaceful place, filled with elegant wooden furniture and lush decorative plants. A brief moment of comfort. While Gina booked reached their room, Indiana discreetly phoned Marcus. His suspicions were correct. A lost ziggurat deep in the jungle held the next artifact, but locals feared the place, calling it haunted. Just as they began to settle in, boom, an explosion rocked the inn. Chaos erupted as fascist soldiers stormed the village, guns blazing. Bullets whizzed through the air, tearing through the wooden walls. Fire spread rapidly, it consumed the floorboards. Indiana pulled out his gun, narrowly dodging a hail of bullets. Gina, frozen in fear, snapped back to reality just in time to force open a door, creating a narrow escape route. Through the fire and smoke they ran for their lives. Through the village, across a crumbling bridge deep into the jungle. They didn't stop. They could not. Who were these soldiers? Why were they attacking? And what dangers awaited Indiana and Gina in the haunted jungles of Sukhothai? That, my friends, is a story for another day. If you enjoyed today's adventure, don't forget to give a thumbs up. And if you want more thrilling tales like this, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, ciao ciao.
Kapkunkra.
You know our language.
I know enough to get me into trouble.